I'm assuming. A plus plus season 2 Wood Witcher from again. How much these people heard from friends that episodes 1 and 2 were solid and rest just downhill? Yeah, obviously massive spoilers, inadvertent spoilers. So here we go. Welcome back to the Scrapyard guys, Rajtronic here, and we are doing something a bit different. We are now live streaming right now on Twitch, YouTube, and Trovo, if you've ever heard of Trovo. And we just decided we'd break off and have a little segment about The Witcher Season 2 on Netflix. Obviously, we will be talking potential spoilers. I don't really know where I'm going to go with this conversation. Hopefully chat will add to it. You can see some of the comments already. Some people like it, some people hate it. I found it incredibly boring at times. I don't know what it was between the difference between season 1 and season 2. Season 1 I quite enjoyed, partially because I knew what was happening and I knew where it was going. I could remember from the stories that I'd read, and obviously a bit from Witcher 3 Wild Hunt and stuff like that. You know, I kind of got the gist of what was happening. I knew stuff was happening on different timelines. And I watched it with my wife, who is a big fantasy nerd like myself, but had no idea what The Witcher was. And she hated it. I had to like stop and explain every now and again and say, oh, this is 100 years before and this is now in the present. But we had the complete reverse experiences for season 2. Basically, she said that was much better than season 1. And I said, that was awful. I felt like, although at one point she did turn around and say, I don't care if any of these characters live or die. And I do feel at certain points in the show, I had no real strong connection with anybody. Like nobody I cared enough about whether they lived or died or not. At no point did I go, you know those kind of Game of Thrones moments where they'd kill off a character and you'd be like, oh my god, that's crazy. Never did that happen in The Witcher. And I just got really depressed about it because it's what it does so well is set the scene of the continent, like the money spent for the props and the CG and the sets and the costumes and the character designs and everything. It's just phenomenal, next level shit. It's almost like better than Game of Thrones in some ways. But the actual like content of the show I felt was so bad. I think it was episode 3 I posted in the community YouTube. The community section of my YouTube, I said, like, I'm really struggling to get through this. It's just so bad. What's Tarax is saying, I'm invested in the lore, so it's interesting to see stories from a different perspective. Yeah, like, if you love Witcher lore, I'm sure there's a lot of, like, you know, Easter eggs and stuff there and references to other stuff. And I picked up on some of it and not so much on others, but, like, I'm not that invested in the Witcher lore, so I guess it just really disappointed me, and when it started to disappoint me, it started to make me mad that it disappointed me, if that makes sense. I don't know what you guys who are watching the stream live have to say or think. People were saying that they liked it, didn't like it. So yeah, that's it. OMG's in the chat there's from Poland. I feel like I might offend some Polish people, and that's maybe a good perspective. If you're from Poland, OMG, like, are you automatically almost like, as a point of pride, do you have to love The Witcher? You know, if you came out as a Polish person and said, do you know what, guys, The Witcher's not that great, would you automatically be like excommunicated from Poland? Like, it's okay to say you didn't like it. It's all right to have that opinion. I mean, the vast majority of The Witcher stuff is good, and don't get me wrong. I just felt season 2 lacked any kind of dramatic punch, even at the last episode. And this is obviously spoilers for the last episode, so look away now. You know, there's a sort of big fight going on in Kaer Morhen against a couple of basilisks. And it goes on for like 15 minutes or something like that. And there's basilisks killing witchers in the background. Yet Geralt and Ciri are having like this like super intimate sort of moment. And Ciri is in a different world. Like, she's not in her right mind. She's imagining herself back when her parents were alive and stuff. And it just goes on and on and on, and it at no point does it get. And then they kind of get transported to another plane, and they see the Wild Hunt, and I wanted to be like, oh, cool, the Wild Hunt, and I was like, oh god, this episode is never fucking ending, is it? And I just no point did it really like jump out and grab me, the show. Just no point. For me, I realized my sisters never read the books or played the games, didn't really care. My brother-in-law found it funny how it frustrated me, episode 2. But for me, episode 2 just made no sense. I'm struggling to remember specific episodes now. Another like sign that this show for me is just a whatever, just another 8 hours in my life. It's like I won't rewatch it. Like I don't think I'll ever go back and rewatch the Witcher's season 1 or 2. Which disappoints me because I know like a lot of people made like lots of hard work went into these shows. You can see that love and care and attention to detail. It's just next level, like the detail in these shows. But from a plot pacing point and from a drama, like no episode, like some episodes, I won't say nothing happens. I hate when people say that. Oh, nothing happens. It was just more like we need to kind of set up what's going to happen 2 episodes from now. So therefore, we need to show you all this, political intrigue. And at one point, my wife said to me, "Oh, great!" I think it was when Dijkstra showed up. It's like, "Oh, great! Another fucking character. We've no idea who he is, what his name is, what he's doing, why he's here." And we're 4 episodes in or 5 episodes in. It just really frustrated me. Eskel had a massive books in the games. The killing of Eskel, I avoided all spoilers, but I kind of couldn't help but notice on Twitter that people got really pissed off with the killing of Eskel. Yeah, like I didn't care, to be honest with you. Like his character wasn't particularly interesting. I felt like he didn't exactly make smart choices. Like he's a witcher, trained in being a witcher. He gets this weird infection in his shoulder and he chooses to kind of ignore it and strap it up. It's just like, you're a witcher trained in these things. Why would you do that? And then, yeah, obviously when he died and they put him in the lovely cave and he gets eaten by wolves, I'm like, whatever, don't give a shit. Like, at no point did I have any emotional impact. The only time I think it happened in season 1 is when Ciri and Geralt meet at the very end and they kind of have that embrace. And I felt like that actually had sort of a moment for me, because I suppose we'd seen what the characters had gone through to get to that point. But yeah, season 2. Another thing that really bugged me was the sort of witch that cursed, that's speaking to Yennefer and Fringilla and Ciri through the whole thing. She's introduced in like episode 2 or 3, I remember, and they meet her in the hut and she kind of promises them stuff. And then she talks to them throughout the whole, the episodes, and you're like, oh, I see what's happening here. And then suddenly, like in episode 7, Geralt's message like goes, that's what you call so and so and so and so, the old lady of the woods, and the witchers put her in a shed and stuff like this. And you're like, why did it take 4 episodes for us as an audience to find out who this character is? Like, we can't hate a bad guy that we know nothing about. Like, we have no context for that bad guy. Absolutely none. We don't know who she is, what her motivations are. Therefore, we can have no affiliate. We can't hate her. We can't love her. Some shows make you want to hate an enemy. Some shows make you want to love an enemy and then hate yourself for loving the enemy. But like, as a bad guy, there was nobody really that's the enemy or the antagonist in that whole show. Anyway, I've kind of rambled. What are people saying? Yeah, like I said, for someone who did not read the books, it doesn't matter since the series is not the same story as the books. Yeah, again, I'm going to say something more controversial as well, OMG. I think the books as a whole are fine. They're okay. I don't think they're exceptional fantasy. I've read multiple books that are much better than the Witcher series. I think the Witcher games are where the Witcher shines for the most part, like expanding that universe and that lore and those stories. And while I was watching The Witcher Season 2, I was just like, do you know what? I should replay The Witcher Wild Hunt, because it's far better than this show. The Witcher's put her in a shed. Yeah, I know. That's going to be like the title of the video, I think, Tarax. So, look, that's been my rambly sort of thing. I don't know. I'm from Poland. Proudly people now. What is The Witcher? I'm waiting for another part of Witcher on the game. PS5. Yeah, the upscaled version of the PS5. Hey, thank you so much. Tim is a piece of scrap. Thank you for the follow, my friend. Thank you. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, Witcher 2, not bad, not good, mediocre, which makes me even more mad. Like that was just so beige as a show. And very rarely had like impactful moments. Even the fight scenes were stylistic and kind of cool. Now, my suggestions of how they could have made it better, you're going to love this. They should have made it a Monster of the Week episode where we follow Geralt around on his day-to-day as a Witcher, doing tasks, hunting monsters, and then in the background, you can kind of see the political intrigue. Like through the stories and the people he meets, you kind of get an idea of what's happening in the larger world. People watch The Witcher and play The Witcher and read The Witcher, I think, to follow The Witcher, the Geralt, the monster hunter. They don't watch it or read it like to find out about, like, you know, the war going on across the continent or something like that. You kind of want to experience that through Geralt's eyes, in my personal opinion, anyway. So books are okay average, so not surprising the show is average, so the games are just an anomaly. Yeah, maybe the games are the anomaly part. And then obviously we have The Witcher Monster Slayer, which is just the greatest piece of Witcher. Oh, I better kill that were-rat now that I'm sort of in between conversations. Oh, my inventory is full. Of course it is. 1 second, everybody. Quick break from this specific video so I can kill a were-rat. This will give you enough time. Oh crap! This will give you enough time to type up your hate comments while I'm beating this were-rat up. Let's get that Wolven Silver Sword and let's start whacking him. So yeah, more better than the show. Sorry, Omo, what do you mean by that? More better than the show? You think the game is better than the show? I think most people would agree with that, and I think that's kind of the overarching sentiment I have for the show is, like, while I watched it, I just wanted to play The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I was like, this is just, the game is just far better than the show, definitely. Okay, so I think unless anybody has any sort of closing comments, we're going to close this segment of the stream out and we'll move on to the next bit. Yeah, but this game is also just average, really. No, Trax, no, you're wrong. You're completely incorrect. This is the greatest Witcher game ever. But yeah, guys, in the chat there, thank you very much for contributing to the Witcher comments. I'm going to close this segment out. This is going to be uploaded live to YouTube later, but we will say thank you very much for everybody who watched this at a later date. Don't forget to find my streaming stuff down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. All right, we'll put the segment there out on YouTube.